Vietnam launched a bold visa reform to attract tourists and investors from all over the world. Citizens from all over the world were granted access to its e-visa system, with validity being increased from 30 days to 90 days. And the cost was super cheap, just $15 up to $20. But after some months of implementations, some few African countries were blocked and cut off. Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon were erased from this policy system. These were not on the books. However, the more people from these people applied, the more controversial the applications got. They were asked to edit their visa, replace some information several times, but at the end, the visa never got granted. And even some other 15 countries have now been asked to get a work permit before even apply for a Vietnamese visa. In this video, I seek to unpack what led to this and what really is the problem. So if you are interested in visiting Vietnam and you are part of these countries, then you know what to do. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video.
Guys, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please do me a huge favor and hit the like button and subscribe. These videos take quite a long time to make, so if you could help me out, I'll love you forever. Thank you all for your support. Now let's get back to this crazy story.
3 months ago, I started getting a lot of emails from Ghanaians, Nigerians, and Cameroonians who wanted to visit Vietnam. Some of these guys wanted to come and teach, but at the time, getting visa from Africa had become very difficult, and I'll tell you the reasons why. There were others who were genuinely tourists who wanted to visit Vietnam. Some of these guys had already bought their ticket, but when they applied for the tourist visa, it continued to ask them to edit. Now let me share with you some of the emails that I got. So this is a Ghanaian who shared an email with me. He said, "I trust you are doing well. My name is withheld. Ghanaian passport holder, and I'm also a frequent traveler around the world. Been facing some challenges with my Vietnamese e-visa and would like some sort of clarification. I submitted an application for a tourist e-visa on 15th February 2025. While I successfully completed all required forms, I have been receiving frequent emails requesting additional information, offering twice a day. I have consistently resubmitted the document as requested, but the issue persisted. The situation has become increasingly frustrating, especially when the emails do not specify the exact reason for the request, leaving me uncertain about what further actions to take. Apparently, this has been going on for some time now with African passport holders for some months now. I need to be in Vietnam in the first week of April and currently have limited time because I need to book my flight ticket. Could you kindly provide clarification regarding the nature of the problem? From my side, I have ensured that all requested documents have been submitted. I will appreciate your prompt assistance." But the truth of the matter is that I had no clue because this was not on book. So I wrote to her that I don't have an idea. I received another mail from another Ghanaian also based in Australia. She's a citizen of Australia. Now, she said, "I have applied for 1-month tourist visa for my husband and father-in-law since November 2024. However, the application has been sent back to me on countless occasions. This has sent me back The application has been sent back to me on countless occasions. That application needs additional information for the following reason. Required to fill in detail all the information in the application form, including tips, expenses, and insurance. I've already filled in that part, but it seems they want more information, which I do not know what exactly they want. Can you please assist me with any information to help me with a visa?" Now, this lady was a doctoral researcher in Australia. So it means she has the right documentations living in Australia. And I wrote to her that has been the situation with citizens from Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon. I don't know. It's not on book. So, she had already bought her flight ticket for herself, her family. It all went to waste. I'll share with you another one. So this one was kind enough to share the information coming from the Vietnam visa application. He says, requires additional information due to the following reason. Required to fill in detail all the information and the application form. The processing will be calculated once the request supplementary information is successfully completed. And this guy had done this severally, multiple times. This guy is a content creator, a Nigerian actually, my friend based in Philippines who wants to visit Vietnam to create content. But it continued like this for 1 month. And apparently I told him he he won't get a visa because he's not the first person to go through this. Now he said, I'm just fed up this Vietnam application. My flight and hotel booked. Now it's all gone. I have to start planning for another country. Let's go to Philippines together. So this is what Ghanaians, Nigerians are facing in Vietnam. Now in this video, I'm going to unpack why this is happening. I decided to delve further to find if there are official correspondence from the Vietnamese authorities on this. Unfortunately, in Vietnam, some of these informations, hardly will they put it on the internet. It takes a very long time. But then my friend sent me this, which I'm unable to confirm actually. I didn't get the source. It says, new announcement under the new policy regarding visa approval for nationals from countries under key monitoring due to war, religion, or political instability concerns. The following 18 countries are affected: Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Congo, Iran, Iraq, Lebanon, Libya, Mozambique, Pakistan, Sierra Leone, Sri Lanka, Sudan, Turkey, Syria, and Yemen. It says, from now on, a valid work permit is required before the visa approval letter application can be processed and approved for applicants from these countries. All hiring managers are advised to take note when recruiting and preparing visa-related documents. So Teacher AJ told me that, Kweku, without a visa, you can't get a work permit. So it's a loop where since you don't have a visa, you don't have a work permit, and due to no work permit, you have no chance of entry. It's an effective blockage of these nationalities. That's what he told me, that this is a blockage of nationality, because without the visa, you can't even get the work permit. Now, I decided to dig deeper and share the information with my friends. I mean, conducting a little survey to see what some of my friends think about this, and even why some of these countries are being blocked from attaining e-visa. And this is what my friends shared with me. I don't have their consent, so I can't put their names on. A Ghanaian was seen in a video roasting meat for buncha. I commented on it, and they said blah 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 blah. So yes, of course, a Ghanaian was sometimes seen roasting buncha. I have that video there. Okay, so this one said, Kweku, we abuse their system, bringing unqualified and unscrupulous Africans. Most overstayed their visas. Most could not make ends meet. Some resorted to peddling drugs, etc. It is better they put some kind of restrictions. They have a country to protect, and so anything that looked like a threat needs to be curtailed. So this is what one person said. Now another person said that, sure, Africans, bro, that you saw the videos of our Nago brothers throwing stone, water, and using fire extinguishers on law enforcement personnel, right? You saw how many people were caught up in that Van Lee scandal, right? You saw and keep seeing how people within our midst brought people here without jobs, and the newcomers are stranded, right? If you've seen and heard all these, then look no further. You've got the answers to your research or inquiry. So another person wrote this. There was a video I saw when were even pouring water on Vietnamese police. Very terrible as a foreigner. So these are concerns of people who are living and resident in Vietnam, all Africans, sharing with me their opinion. Now, I also share with you my research work, what I've been able to dig into, the reason why all of these problems have risen and why it is affecting all Africans, and what has led to Africans being allegedly banned in Vietnam. Now, take it or leave it, people, by the hearing of Vietnam, people criticize, why do you choose to go to Vietnam? What is in Vietnam? Those people have no idea of what is in Vietnam. Those people have no idea of how Vietnam has helped a lot of Africans. People who got denied visas in multiple countries, America, UK, Canada, Germany, and they had no resort but than to come to Vietnam and later move from Vietnam to their dream country. Those people have no idea. In fact, people even think that Vietnam is still the olden, modern Vietnam War. Vietnam has developed far better and more than that. So if you have no idea, I don't have a problem with you saying that, because it just tells me that you are an ignorant person. But for those who are not ignorant and those who have an idea of what is happening in Vietnam, how Vietnam has helped and is helping people, you stay with me and don't forget to subscribe. Now, this is my research. Information I gathered has amounted to the problems Africans are facing in Vietnam now. It's the abuse of e-visa system. Now, Vietnamese e-visa was so cheap, $25 for single entry, $50 for multiple entry, and they required very few documents. Unfortunately, Africans took advantage of this and rather sold this visa for $3,000 to $5,000 to fellow Africans, bringing in all sorts of Africans, giving them all sorts of promises. But most of these guys didn't tell them the real truth, that with e-visa, you can even not get work permit in Vietnam. The only solution is to get out of the country and then come back with a work visa. Unfortunately, most of these guys came in without knowing, and it led to Africans getting stranded at the airport of Vietnam every day. Every blessed day, people were stranded. Every blessed day, people were just walking about the street. They can't find the agent who brought them. And they come in and realize that the visa fee that was given to them was just $25. However, they paid $3,000 and $6,000 for that visa. It led to a whole lot of chaos, anarchy. People were fighting, people were quarreling. And some Africans went to the extent of even reporting some of these visa agents to Vietnamese immigration and Vietnamese authorities. So with time, it became clear that Africans are abusing the system. There was an incident, some Africans had a brutal fight because apparently the lady has charged one of the ladies $3,000 and the lady came, didn't get anything, overstayed her visa, and chaos. So this is number one reason why we are at where we are today. So number two is overstay cases. And several Africans with time had overstayed their visas in Vietnam, and they get arrested, but they still come in. They still find ways and means to come in. And instead of going out of the country, it becomes a problem. Now in Vietnam and in Asia, there is a strict rule that if you overstay your visa and you are arrested or you are seen, you have to buy your own flight ticket and even pay for the overstay. If you don't pay for the overstay, they will never allow you to leave their country. So there's been several instances where people who had overstay wanted to leave the country, bought their flight ticket, but they were returned to go and pay and clear the overstays before they leave their country. And that is something which has really affected a lot of Africans. Now, the next reason is that recently, Vietnam took a bold stance in cracking people who are using companies as a proxy to recruit teachers, not with the exact aim of bringing them to teach, but making business. They bring them in, take their monies, do the work permit TLC for them, and allow them to go and galavan, do whatever they like. So recently, Vietnam cracked on a number of such companies, and some companies were affected, like the Van Lee issues and the Mr. Ha issues, and several of them. Now, those who were affected from this crackdown was the African teachers, because most of these guys had a number of African teachers. And once your sponsor's license is revoked, you are asked to either find a new sponsor or leave the country. Several of these Africans went into exile, went to the Philippines, Cambodia, Indonesia, and they never got a visa to return back. In fact, some were blacklisted, and others took a stand of still staying in. They were not ready to go out. And a whole lot of complicated issues that came with it. So that is also another reason why today, if you are an African or if you belong to any of these countries, you cannot get e-visa to enter Vietnam. Now, the next thing is our conduct, our code and conduct in Vietnam. In fact, in as much as Africans comport themselves, there are some people who have misbehaved with time. Some have had confrontation with the police, and some were involved in drug peddling charges. Now, example was this publication. So these Africans were caught in drug peddling issues, and this is just an isolated incident. There were a number of them, several of them. We had some Africans confronting the Vietnamese authorities head on. Example is a video you saw. Africans confronting Vietnamese immigration head on. And the final one is a lot of Africans in the country without job. Getting an English teaching job, which is the only job available in Vietnam, has become increasingly competitive because of the number of people who trooped into Vietnam. What it means is that if you are an African in Vietnam, you should know your craft very well. You should know how to teach very well. If you don't know how to teach, you will find yourself in limbo. And that is what has happened to a number of teachers, coupled with low salary rates, which is being paid, also affecting a number of people. Now, the last one is cancellation of English exams for Vietnamese high school students. So, formally, all high school students were supposed to take an English test, and that was what actually prompted the number of English lessons. But Vietnam has now scrapped that and given the people, the student, the opportunity to study. They can also choose other languages if they want. So, I mean, as a result of this, several schools abolished the English lessons, or it wasn't made compulsory again, or they were not they were not taking money for people to learn English again. And that has also placed a number of Africans out of job. And that is also one of the reasons. And final one is the recategorization of English teaching class. Now, they've cancelled a number of English centers, and they are saying that even if you are a Vietnamese teacher, you can't even own an English center. If you are an English center, you have to register, know your teachers. These are strict regulations and protocols, which has put a number of teachers at work. And most of these people are also stranded, and it's a problem. So these are some of the reasons why these problems has risen. Now, going forward, how do we solve this? Always ensure that before you come to Vietnam, you have a job offer. You have a company that has expressed interest in you, taken you through an interview, hired you, you have your contract before even deciding to come to Vietnam. If not, don't come, because you find yourself stranded. Again, always ensure that you don't overstay your visa. If your visa is left with some few days to expire, ensure that you leave the country. What we call visa run. It's a common thing. It's better to go on visa run to have a clean visa and passport than to stay in and have complications. That doesn't only affect you, it affects all other Africans in the country. Now, the final one is causing problems in somebody's country. The country doesn't owe you anything. You owe them a lot because you are in their country to work. So the least you can do is to comply with their rules and regulations and their immigration requirements. Don't breach them. Don't fight. Don't create problems and chaos. This is the reason. Whatever behavior you exhibit around where you find yourself, that is the perception they see all Africans. Because most people don't know Africans. So they judge all Africans according to how that African in that corner is behaving and conducting himself. When you have this at the back of your mind, you always do the right things. My name is Kweku Skedia Branti. If there is something I left out, don't forget to leave it in the comment section.